So in our first module, that is element structures, I will firstly cover some of our basic web page structure. So every web page on the internet have similar type of web structure. That is the doc type, the HTML tag. It is the place where all the HTML is been resided. The head tag, which gives an overview of the feature, and the body tags where the page content goes. So let's just check this out on our browser and see, and I will explain you some more in details. Just let's write our first HTML web page. So we will go one by one with the basic structure of a HTML web page. First we will cover is the doc type. So what does this doc type HTML does? It is also known as the declaration of for the HTML. So this doc type HTML defines that we will be using, or it declares that we will be using the HTML5 version. So there are different versions of HTML. It is HTML4, XHTML and HTML5. The latest one is the HTML5. The reason behind using the HTML5, it provides a semantic markup, it provides new variants of tags which we'll be using in our further videos. So this doc type HTML is just known as the declaration tag, and it is to declare that we will be using the HTML5 markup. Next we will cover is the HTML tag. So what does this HTML tag does? It is a place inside which whole HTML markup is being placed. So this gives the place where we will place all our HTML markup. Next we will go with the head tag. So what does the head tag does? It gives a quick view about the whole markup document features. Next we will go with the body. So this is the place where all the documents will be placed, where all the visible markup content is being placed. Let's save this document and check. So now you would be having a question like, we have written so many of tags, but we have still been able to see only the place where all the content has been placed. So let me clear one thing. The body is a section, or body is the place where all the place content will be visible on the page. In the head tags, there are the content, it is not visible. In the head tag, all the content are not visible on the web page. And you would be also having a question like, why these tags are not being seen? So these tags are just the commands. It it gives a command to the browser that I want to show this particular type of content. So you can have a glance regarding this content by inspecting it on the Chrome browser. As you can see here, like we are having the doc type. It is a similar thing that we are having here. Doc type, the HTML tag, the head tag, the body tag, and the things which we have placed here. So this is nothing but it is highlighting. As you can see here, the things have been highlighted when we go over it. Just similarly to that. Now you would be having a question like, why this is having a display block. So it is nothing but the predefined style guide or predefined style which has been applied to the HTML document by the browser. So this type of CSS will be applied, default CSS will be applied to the markup. So let's just check the head tag in more detail. Head tag is usually used to place the meta tags, or it as I've told that head tag is usually used to provide some information regarding the features of the web page, or it gives a quick view. So for that, we are using the meta tag, the meta tags with the attributes in terms of name value pair. Let's discuss in more detail regarding the head tag and the body tag. So as I've discussed that the head tag is used to give the quick view regarding the features to the browsers. The features regarding the web page which we will be creating. And for providing the quick view, we are using the meta tags. So before diving into the meta tags, I will just give you an example regarding how we can relate it with the real life application, real life example. So whenever we try to plan, whenever we are planning to buy a new phone, we go through the key features that a phone is providing, that a phone brand has been providing, and using that key features only we decide what whether we want to buy that phone or not. And using that features only we will be able to get to a point that what the phone is, how the phone is, and what kind of features that phone is having. So similarly, this head tag is giving the information or a quick view to the browsers regarding the whole web page. So as I've told that we will be using the meta tag for the quick view. Meta tag defines the metadata about the HTML document. It is information about the data. Meta tags always go inside the head tags, as you can see here, and are typically used to specify the character sets, the page description, the keywords, the author of the document, and the viewport setting. Meta tags don't do anything to the content that are presented in the browser, but they are used by the search engines to catalog information about the web page. Let's go one by one the different types of meta tags we are having and what they provide, what kind of information they provide. So the first one we will go through is the character set, the meta tag which provide the character set. So what is this character set is? It defines the character set encoding for the HTML document. There are different character set encoding such as UTF-8 for Unicode, ISO 88591 character for Latin alphabet. So it usually is to define the type of language you will be using, a character code. And this is nothing but a attribute which provides the information. As we can see that this character set is nothing but the attribute. But the commonly used attributes in the meta tag is the name and the content. And the name attributes is always used in conjunction with the content. So let's see some of our attributes, different attributes used in the meta tags which provide information. The first one we will go with the description. The first name will be the description. And the content will be regarding, let's write first HTML series. So this is giving the information regarding this, giving the description of this web page. Next, let's cover the keywords. So what does this keyword is doing? So I will write some of the keywords such as HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript. I just open this up more so that we will be able to see this. So what these keywords are doing? The keywords are used by the search engine. For example, whenever we search something on Google, multiple number of information is being shown. So what is happening behind the scene? It is the search word is being searched with the keywords. So whenever we search on the Google, that search is being matched with the keyword of the web page. And whatever the web page are matching with the keywords or with the search word, that number of options will be search option will be visible. So this is the main work of the keyword. Let's dive in with the next one, that is the name, that is the author. So what does the author do? What kind of information the author provides? So author is nothing but the author is the owner of the web page who has created this, or the web page to whom which it is belonged. So as I have added my name, or if you are providing, for example, if the web page is belong to a company, then the company name will be shown here. Let's dive with the next one. The next one provide information regarding the viewport. So its content is width is equal to device width. Device width with an initial scale of 1.0. So what this content has been saying? It is saying metadata and providing information regarding viewport with the value of width is equal to device width. So what is doing? The viewport is used to support the responsiveness. It has a value of width is equal to device width. It commands the browser to resize the web page to the width of the device screen. And the initial scale value commands to scale the document normally without the scale of 1 point, with the scale of 1.0. 1. So this is the way the head text have been represented. So let's jump dive into the body tag. So in the body tag, all the visible statement will be seen. So I will just start with the p tag, the paragraph tag. Here is our first tag with the content. I will just save it out and refresh the page. So it will show our first web page with the meta. As you can see, like we have added all the meta tags, we here in the code is will visible here also. Similarly, and the body tags we will be having at the p tag, it is shown here also. Another way of getting to know regarding the web page or the content which we seen here, we can there is another way of seeing that also. So you can right click and you can see the view page source. So what this is showing is the compiled version of the code which we have place. So this is usually used in terms of PHP language, where we provide the dynamic markup, where the dynamic markup is being populated. So all the compiled markup or the compiled code will be seen here on the page source. So this way you can see the compiled page source also. Moving towards our next topic, that is basic tags. Before going forward with the basic tags, I will just let you know that how the HTML tags have been written. An HTML tags have been defined by the start tag and the end tag. And between the start and end tags, there is the content which is in. So there are some basic tags in HTML also. These basic tags covers headings, paragraph, and line breaks. And for headings, we are having a range of headings ranging from H1 to H6. For example, H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 till H6. For paragraph, for representing the paragraph, we are having the p tag, as you can see in the example. And for the line breaks, this line break is usually used to break the line or is to break the statement on the paragraph or on the paragraph. So it can be written like this synthetically, or it can be written with just a BR tag in HTML, and this BR tag is usually written in HTML5. So let's just see in action. Heading tags, we are having six range of headings, and the reason behind having six ranges, I will just show you it in action. So first we will go with the H1 tag. As you can see, this is the heading 1 H1. I will just write down the heading range one by one, and then we will see in action on the browser. So this is the heading H2. Let's write it H5, H6. H4, this is H5 heading, and this is H6 heading. So let's just refresh the browser and check how this looks. So as you can see on the browser, we are having the heading range from H1 to H6. And the reason behind having the ranges is they provide the different browser styles. So the H1, which is the highest one, is having the largest font size, reducing towards the declining head tag. As you can see, as we are having the H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. And this is nothing but a default styling which has been applied by the browser. So every head tag which we are having in the HTML is having a different font style been applied by the browser. So let's move towards the paragraph tag, which we usually use for the page. This is the paragraph tag which has been used. I will be using the lorem ipsum shortcut for this. So for paragraph, we usually go with the just so as you can see here, the paragraph is we can see the paragraph which has been written here. By the way, to just clear it out, this paragraph is consisting of a sample statement which has been taken from the lorem ipsum website. So this is the way we will represent the paragraph with the p tag. So let's just move towards the line breaks. How the line breaks have been written and what are the actual use of line breaks. So for example, if we are having as you can see, like this is a continuous statement in the paragraph, and if you want to have a line break in between, and we can write br tag and just save it. You will get to know how what is doing actually. So let's just refresh the browser and see how the br tags works. So as you can see from the browser, like after volume palettes, we have written a br tag, and this is breaking the line here. This is the actual work of the. Moving forward with our next topic, that is the formatting elements. So there are various formatting elements of the tags which have been available available in HTML5 where we can modify or format the p tag or the paragraph tag into a particular. So here is the list of different formatting elements present in HTML5. So we will go one by one and I will let you know in description what they actually do. So as you can see on my screen, the b tag is used for the bold tags. For example, if you are applying the b tag within the p tag, then that particular section will be bold, will appear as a bold. The same way the strong works. Strong also appears the content to be much more darker as compared to the other content beside it. Third tag is the italic tag. The italic tag is used to provide us a type of presentation like a slanted text or slanted content where it has been placed. Emphasize text also plays the same role as the italic tag text. Next one is the mark text. Mark text provides the ability to highlight a particular section into a paragraph. For example, if you want, for example, we have seen a website where the some section has been getting highlighted to show the important points on that particular blog or particular content. So for that, we use the mark tag. There is another tag that is a small tag. For example, uh, uh, we have seen like the first letter is the first word is in the having a larger font, and the second word is having the smaller font. So we don't need to add a particular font size for both the words. We can do the same with the small tag itself. For example, if I'm adding a p tag and I'm adding the content within it, and within the p tag I want a particular word to appear a small with a smaller font size, so I can just add the small tag within that between around that content. The next one is the deleted tags. The deleted tags, that is the del tags. Del tags is appears and it depicts to the users that the particular section has been deleted. So it will appears like a straight line over the text or over the content where it has been placed. Inserted text appears and it depicts that a particular content is been inserted into a particular section or particular content. So these are the two. The next two are the important ones that are sub and sup. So it's known as subscript and superscript. These are usually used to or while adding the formulas. Uh, so what does the subscript do and what subscript do? They both provide the content above or below the baseline. So what the above and below the baseline means? It means that if a particular line, particular content is on the same level, then above the level and below the level, that particular content will be placed. So let's just check this out in action. Again, back to our code editor and the browser. So I have added the content of the for the various formatting element. So first we will go one by one and we will let see how it looks like on the browser. So what I have done is I have added a paragraph tag with some sample text, and between that I have added some formatting elements or the formatting tags. So we will see in action on the browser. Let's just go with the first one, that is the bold tag, bold formatting text. So as you can see, like I have added the p tag with the sample text, and between that I have added the b tag for the bold. So after refreshing the browser, I can see like the content which is around the b tag is being seen much more bolder. So this is the work of the b tag, that is the bold tag. Similarly, let's next going with the strong tag. Let's see this in action, how it looks like. Saving the file and refreshing the browser, it will show the strong tag. So as you can see, like the ID is having the strong tag is within the strong tag, so that has been appearing as a bold. So what is the difference between the bold and the strong? The strong and bold both shows the font or the text or the content bold, but the strong is syntactically gives a meaning to the content that it is actually a strong. Bold doesn't provide that. Strong is the semantic tag, which we will cover in the future video. So I will go with the both italic and emphasize at once, so that we can have a glance like how they are looking. Saving and refreshing the page. So as you can see, like both the content which is around the italic and the emphasize tags, both are having a slanted text and it is appearing like this. The difference between the italic and the emphasize tags is similar to the B and bold tag and the strong tag. Emphasize gives much more meaning to the content. Italic doesn't give. It is just a presentational, and emphasize is the semantic. Moving forward with the next one, that is the mark tag. So I have added the mark tag within the P tag, saving and refreshing the folder. So as I have told that mark tags is used to highlight a content which we want to show to the user that it is an important content. So the content around the mark tag is appearing as highlighted. So using this we can provide any highlighted text or important text on our browser, on our web page. Moving next with the small tag. The small tag is used to provide smaller font as compared to the adjacent content. As you can see, like the all the other content is at the normal font size and small is appearing. Small tag is doing a small font size, is adding a small font size for the content which is around. Moving next with the delete tag, that is a delete text, saving and refreshing the folder. So as I've told that it appears like the section is been deleted, so it appears as a P tag which has been cancelled. So we can show similarly on our web page also. Next one is the inserted text. Yeah. So inserted text depicts that it has been inserted from any other source, or it is to define that it is important also. So for that it has been appearing as a underlined text. Next we will cover the subscript and superscript text, and as I have told that it appears to be above or below the baseline, so I will just show you what exactly means. So as you can see, like this is at the same level, this text is at the same level, and whatever is within the subtags and subtags appears to be above or below the baseline. So this is the way we can add it, and it is usually used during the formulas when we want to add formulas, for example exponential formulas. So moving forward towards our next topic, that is link tags. So the link tags are basically the anchor tags. It is also known as the links. So what does the anchor tags do? It is essentially a tag that you are attaching a word or a phrase. So what is doing behind the scenes is exactly like you would normally or internally or externally want to bring the reader down to a different section of a page, or you want to navigate to a different page. So using this tag we can navigate to a different page or different section of the web page. So as you can see on my example, there are number of examples I have added down. The first one we will take an example, like it's an anchor tag which is being represented by the A tag. It is having an href attribute. In future videos we will go through the HTML attributes, why it is used, how they are beneficial, and how to use them. So basically these href attributes, so the magic behind the anchor tag lies between the href attribute. It guides or it instructs the anchor tag to navigate to a particular section or to navigate to a particular website or a link. So as you can see in this example, I have added an empty value to the href. So it indicates that it will not go to any of the location or any of the web page or any of the link. But it's not a good practice. So for a good practice, if you are not if you don't want to navigate the user to a particular location, but you want to provide the link as an anchor link, then we can have a hash symbol. This hash symbols tells the browsers that this link is an anchor link, but it doesn't navigate to any of the location. Similarly, there is an example. You can see in the see on my screen another example with a link, like it will navigate to a particular website with a name of example.com. So for that we are using like this. So what this link is doing exactly, it is opening, whenever we click on this link, it will open this particular website, that is www.example.com, on the same tab. And if you want the website to be open on a new tab, then we will be using the target attribute with a blank underscore blank value. So it is giving instruction to the browser, like I want to navigate to this particular website and I want this website to be open on a new tab. So let's just check out into action on our browser. So we are back on a browser and our VS Code. So let's just jump into and see it in the action, like how the anchor tag has been written. For the anchor tag, this is the way we are writing the anchor tag, with a close A tag with an href attribute. That is, first one we are trying is with the blank. So I will write the first anchor tag and the first anchor link, you could say. So I will just save this up and refresh a page. So this is a first link, and usually this anchor tags have usually been having a default styling with a underline. So whenever you browse to a web page or a website, and whenever you see such a styling, then this styling is they depict that this is the link and we can navigate to a particular location. And as you can see, like whenever you try to hover over this link, there is a hand, the cursor styling has been changed to a hand symbol. So this also depicts that this link is clickable. This says like this is the anchor link and it can be navigated to a different section, so you can just click it. This symbol depicts that. And as you can see at the bottom of the browser, like whenever we hover over this link, there is a URL being shown up. So when we have a particular website link being added over the here, it will show that website link at the bottom of this browser. So as you can see, whenever I unhover, I just gone away from the link, the URL at below of the URL at the bottom of the browser will be vanished. So it just gives an idea like where it will be navigating. Similarly, let's check out the best practice for the 8 anchor tag. I will just copy this up and this is our second anchor tag with a hash symbol. This depicts that we don't want to go anywhere. I'll just save it up. So this is the second anchor tag. So when you click here, it will not go anywhere, and you can see like the hash symbol has been added here. Similarly, when we try to add here, you can just see at the bottom of the browser, like it want to navigate to an index.html with a hash symbol which has been added at the end. Similarly, if I am adding another link with anchor tag with of Google, I just like to add a Google link, https://google.com. have added one Google link also, and if you try to open this, it will redirect to the Google website. So this is the way the anchor link is working. Let's get back to our another link, like how we can open this particular link on a next window or on a new window. So just by adding the target attribute, we can do this with the value of under blank. So with this, it will open the link on the next tab. So as soon as I've clicked on that particular link, it has opened the URL onto another new tab or a new window. So moving forward with the next topic, that is the HTML attributes. As we have seen in the link tag that we have used attributes such as href, target. So these are providing what they are doing is they are actually providing the information to the particular tag element, which which instruct the browsers to perform in such a way. So what does the attributes are doing? They are actually providing the information about the elements, and it's giving additional information actually. Yeah, and the main thing we have to make sure like it is always specified in the start tag. So as you can see, like, as you can see on the hashtag on the anchor tag, like the href has been provided in the start tag itself. Secondly, and the third point, we have to make sure like it is always in the pair. It always attributes always come in a pair of name and value pair. That is name is equal to value. So moving forward with the next topic, that is HTML classes, styles, and ID attributes. So as we know that the attributes are actually providing the additional information. So there are many other global attributes which we will use extensively while coding HTML5. So there are three types of attributes, global attributes, like the classes, the styles, and the ID. So what these three attributes are doing? It's so all these attributes in the context of CSS, it is providing the styling. So the style, the style, the classes, and the IDs. All the three are required to provide styling, the style sheets, or is to provide styling to the elements so that it could have a look and feel change to that particular element. And in the context of JavaScript, when we want to add some logic, or when we want to manipulate some element, like we want to delete or show and hide an element, then using JavaScript and targeting these attributes like classes and IDs, we can show and hide it. Style is specifically used for styling for styling. So as you can see, like in an anchor tag, we have added an attribute of style, and we are providing information like we want to add a color of red. So similarly, this style is working. And there are example of styles and ID also. There are example of ID and classes also. So as you can see, like I have added an ID of link style. So using this ID, I can style this particular element like uh, and similarly using the class, I have added a class with a value of link style. Similarly with the value of with the class styling, the value provided in the class attribute, I can use that and then style this particular element. So moving forward with the next topic, that is quotation and cite elements. So what are quotation and cite elements? Quotation and cite elements are actually used to provide a reference or a title to a particular work. So there are a couple of elements, a couple of tags we will be using for the quotations and cite elements. So like the first one we will go with is the abbreviations or ABBR. So ABBR tag is usually used to provide acronyms or abbreviation for a particular type, particular work. So the next tag is the block quote. it is used to specify that it has been quoted from the another source. So what it depicts to the user, like the whatever the content which is being shown in the block code, it has been coming from another source or another website. So that is the use of block code. It just used to represent the user in such a format. The third one is the site tag, which is to specify the title of the work. Like a particular section, we might want to add a title, and we can use the site element, and it will specify the title for that particular section or a work. Coming towards the fourth tag, that is the address tag. It is to specify the contact information of owner or the author of the document. Like if I'm adding an address tag, and if I'm adding the address information of a particular of my office, address information regarding my office, like then it specifies that particular information of that owner or the author of that particular code. So let's just check this out. So we are back in our real-time example. So let's just jump on with the abbreviation tag, that is ABBR tag. So abbreviation tag always accepts a title attribute. So I will just add a title of sample title, and I will add the content from the lorem ipsum sample or a so I've just added a sample content of lorem ipsum. You can just get it from the lorem ipsum website. So I will just save it and refresh it on the browser. You will just get to know like how the abbreviation tag is. So as you can see, like this has been abbreviated like as I suggested. So let's just start. So I have added in sample text from the lorem ipsum website. So after saving this, it will look like this on the browsers, and I have suggested like it is always used for the abbreviation or acronyms. And as I've told that it accepts an attribute of title. So whenever we hover on this, it will just pop up with a sample title which have been added. Going up with the next tag, that is the block code. I will add the same type of content from the above one, so just to save our time. So after adding the block code, I will just refresh it so that we can have a glance how the block code is. So this is the way how the block code has been shown. It's specified that it has been quoted from the another source, and the default styling, like you can see, like it has been centered aligned. Secondly, there are spaces from left and right and above and bottom. So this styling has been provided by the browser itself. Third one, we will go with the site attribute. We will have the same kind of content, and checking on the browser, it will looks like this. It shows that this is the title of a particular work. So you can see, like I can have a title of a particular section. I will just add, for example, we can say like there is a section of a blog that is star rating blogs. So we can have a title of that, and it's usually been in such styled. So you can just add this kind of site element, and you can just use it for such scenarios. Going forward with the address attribute, how it has been used, I will just save it, add the sample content, save it and refresh it on a browser. Just a second. So let's just dive into a real life scenario for the address and site, because there will be we will have quite deep plans regarding this both the tags. Like the as we can see, like site is the same as the address, both the stylings the same. That is the italics. So let's just dive into a more real world scenario so that we can have a quick glance. So for the site tag, I will just add a reference. Okay, so I will just add a link for this a tag, that is http colon https. So http, and there are two types of hypertext, that is http and https. Https is the secured version, so usually use that. So this is the link coming from, so I will just add this site tag. You can see www.google.com. I will just save it and I will just refresh it, so you can have that link. I will just change this a tag with the div tag, so you can have a quite glance like what is actually happening. So just saved it, refresh it. So you can see like what the site is doing. It is just highlighting that section, like it is coming from a particular section, a particular website. So you can just cite it like that. So moving forward with the next example, real time example for the addresses, like there are many company sections which are having the addresses been popped up at the footer of the company website or web page. So you can relate it with that. So this tag also have the same kind of styling, that is the italic one, but we will add a address, for example 5/538 comma xyz villa, um, Mumbai. We will add Kolkata and India. So we'll just check this out how it's look. You can see like this has been abbreviated as a address, so you can have a glance of that also. And there are many section like people are having the anchor tags or the phone numbers in the address tags also, so you can add a similar way the like 8898 xxx. Okay, so that's the sample number. By refreshing we can have a glance of that also, that like how the numbers and the address added. So just to have similar look as I have depicted, I will just add a break tag on the every line so that it is been aligned properly. Cool. Let's save it. And so it is similarly not so similar, but somewhat similar, which is looking as a address which has been pop up in the footer of any of the site which we move around on internet. So let's move towards our next topic, that is images, the image tag. So for the images, if you want to add an image on a web page or in an HTML document, then we should go with the image tag. So these tags are usually used to place the images. So the main thing regarding the image tag, it accepts a source attributes, and these source attributes have or consist a value which is the location which which is the location of the image being placed. So this location can be relative or absolute location or the storage location. So location in the terms of the URL of the image where it has been stored, or from where we can download that image and place it into our HTML document. So there are two attributes along with the source attributes, that is width and height. You can see on my screen, like which is used to specify the width and height of the image. But as in standard practice, we should add the width and height through CSS. But if we are not going with CSS, we can go with the width and height attributes also. For an example, I have shown in this image, like we can add the image tag with the img tag, which is having a source attribute, and that source attribute holds the value of the URL of an image where it is been stored. For example, there is a directory with the images folder, and in that images folder there is an image with the sample image hyphen image dot jpeg. So one more thing I have to add with this image tag source attribute value is like it can accept different types of variants of images. The extension we can say, like as you can see, like there is a image type which has been used is the JPEG. So there are other types also, that is PNG, SVGs. So different extension we can use. So in the latest 2020 latest in this current year, that is 2020, uh, we usually have, or as in best in this latest year, that is 2020, we usually go with the with the PNG, because the PNG is having the blank or the transparent background. JPEG is having the detail at the background of a particular image, and there are many variants like which are coming up, and we should start using it in this current year. Like these are the features of image tag. So there are extensions such as JPEG 2000, GIF. The second one is the SVGs, so we can use that. So let's just dive into our browser and our code editor and just check it out, the image tag. So for referencing our image tag and to show our image tag, I have already downloaded the image of a dog. That's a British Husky. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite dog. I really want to have one. There's a Siberian Husky dog photo which I have downloaded from the Google, and I have added into our folder. So you can just add it, download and add it into a folder where we have saved the index.html file, that is the HTML document. So I will just add our image. Yeah. So this image tag is having. We will just go with the source tag. It's source attribute is first, and then we will go for the alt attribute for the image. So I will just link it to the JPEG, and that is the JPEG Husky, and I will refresh it. So as you can see, like I have downloaded the image into our HTML document by using the image tag. Similarly, we can add the width and height attribute also for this image. So I will have 200 pixel by 200 pixel of this image. After saving and refreshing, you can just see like the image is taking the value of the width and height and is commanding the browser like I want to show the image with the width and height of value 200 pixel. Similarly, we can there is one more attribute that image is always that we should always use as a best practice. Like as a best practice, there is an attribute known as alt. Alt means the alternate text. So if the image is not downloaded properly, so in that scenario, what we can do, and we can show that we want that the image which has been downloaded or which has been failed to download is actually the Siberian Husky dog image. Okay, I will just add it. It's just a informative text we want to provide to user when the image has been failed to download. Siberian Husky. So I've added this. I will just refresh it and I will try to mismatch the URL. I have so technically this image is not present and I will refresh it and it will show that the image is not been downloaded or image has been deleted or image is not found, and for as an alternative I am adding a tag known as alternate text, that is Hiberian Husky. So as an user I know that the image is not downloaded but the text I can understand that this is actually a Siberian Husky image. Moving towards our moving towards our next topic, that is HTML list. Yeah. So what is list? Actually, a specified way of making a node list information or detail. For example, here you have seen like whenever we visit to a e-commerce website to buy a phone, so there are many features which has been written into bullet points. So that is nothing but a list which provide information or details about a particular product or a particular section. So we can relate it with that. So for that we are having a list, and for providing such kind of list, HTML provides us with the two of tags, and these lists are divided into two types, that is ordered list and unordered list. So ordered list, it is used to create a list of relatable item in a specified order. So ordered list will be listed down uh, in numbers. It will have the numbering orders. An unordered list it is used to create a list of related items in no specific orders. So in no specific order means it will not have any specific order. So this list will be noted down in terms of bullet or in terms of some mark, we can say. So let's just check it out on our browser how it is looking and how to write the ordered list and unordered list. So as you can see, I have separated out the section for the list, and we will start with our unordered list. So for the unordered list, we have to place the UL tags and yeah. So just to clear it out before going further, for the unordered list, we are having the UL tag, and for the ordered list we are having the list tag, that is li tag. Sorry, for the ordered list we are having the ol tag. Ordered list. So this usually the list is usually represented by the li tags, which has been placed inside the unordered or ordered list. So for the list, to define it actually as a list, we have a tag known as li tag. So we can have number of li tags. So for example, I'm having li tags of, I will just have a grocery items, that is pencil, a Parker pen, a scale, and colors. So I will just save it up and let's check it out how the unordered list has been shown. So as I've told that the unordered lists are been in a no specific order. So like there is no order uh, which has been maintained. So they are been and they are been listed down in terms of bullet and bullet list. Like so this the dots are nothing but the bullets. Yeah. So similarly, there are ordered list also, and to when we try to enclose the list tag into an unordered oval tag, then that whole list is known as the unordered list. So similarly, I will just copy the about this section in the unordered list, and we will have a look like how it looks on the browser. So as I've told, it is been placed in a specific order. It maintains a specific order, and for maintaining that order, it is usually provided by the numbering system or the numbering bullets. As you can see, like the pencil is the first one. There is an order which has been followed up in the increasing order, like the number is been used and it is been increasing as the items are being increased. Similar way, the we can add the list on our web page or in a HTML document. So moving towards the next topic, that is block element versus inline element. So what does the block element versus inline element are? As you can see, like in a previous videos, we have in a previous explanation, like we have gone through some section like the if we are placing the a tag one after the another in a code, and after saving and refreshing the browser, that a tags are being placed one one after the another, like it is being placed on the single line. There is no line breaks between those tags. And if you're using a div tag, then div like we are having four div tags which has been placed on a single line uh, on a single line in a code. And if you save and refresh a browser, like we can see like there are four different div which has been placed one after the another on single separate line. So what does the block level element do? It covers the whole width of the section. Start it always start on a new line. It can contain or it can container the inline element. Similarly, the opposite of the block level element is the inline element. So what does the inline element does? It covers only the element width. The amount of element which the element is having, amount of width the element is having, it will cover that much width only. And if you are adding another similar type of inline element, then it will be placed just beside that particular inline element. It will not cover the whole width of the screen, it will cover only the element width. And it does not start on a new line, it is always on the same line. Yes, there are some conditions like the line is been full, like the web page uh, line on which the content is being placed, and the content is larger than the screen, then it will be wrapped on the next line. So in that scenarios, it is just wrapping it, it is not starting on a new line. So this was the main example. So there are many tags we have gone through. I will just go uh, go through some of them so that we have clear idea like which are block elements and which are inline elements. So back on a browser and a code editor, like I have set in two examples, one with a inline type of element and one with an block type of element. So the a tag is usually inline type of element, and as I've told, like if you are placing a four inline elements one after the another on a in a code editor, and if you try to save and refresh a browser, like you can see the tags have been placed one after the another. It is taking only that much of amount of width that the element content is having. Like the first anchor tag or the link is having this much of width, so it will tag that much only. And after that, all the other tags which are similar inline tags are having, they are being attached to this, so they are not starting on the new line. Similarly, like for the So the same way, like when we try to evaluate the block level element, the the list tag is actually the block level element, which takes the whole width of the screen of the web page, and it always start on a new line. So you can see, like, I'm using the li tags. There are four li tags which have been placed one after the another. You can say, like, it can be similar to this scenario also. I'm saving it, I'm refreshing it, though I have been added. So if you are placing the li tags one after the another in a code also, and if you are refreshing it, it will take the whole page of the whole page, whole width of the page as shown in figure. So it's every tag, every block element tag is starting on a new line. As you can see here, it is always on